Hi everybody and welcome to Andrew Discusses, a video series where we take a look at something and then I look to you, the viewers, to give a good discussion and let's get one going. Today's topic is video gaming, specifically Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. And I do apologize for my voice, I'm still getting over my cold. But anyway, so here's my deal. What in the hell are they thinking anymore? Look, I get that Nintendo is pretty much safe and sound with we have the Switch, we have the Nintendo eShop, we are basically in charge here. And Sony dropped the ball with the PS4. We're getting, what is it now? The PS5's coming out this year. Microsoft's coming out with their Xbox, what is it, I think it's S series or whatever the hell they're going to call it. They should have just named the Xbox One. Or they should have named whichever one they had. I think it was the Xbox One. They should have just kept that Project Scorpio. Like the Xbox Scorpio would have made such a better name for a goddamn game console. But yeah, it would have. But anyway, what am I getting at here? I think it's finally time that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft stop whipping their dicks out at this point. I'm being honest here. They got to stop whipping it out. The pissing contest is done. What they need to do, and I mean this beyond a shadow of a doubt in my mind, they have got to come together. I know. But hear me out. Hear me out first. Before you chastise me in the comments by going, Andrew, that'll never happen. Nintendo and Sony getting together, that PlayStation prototype of theirs was a failure from the start. That's why it didn't get off the ground. No, Nintendo decided to have a pissing contest. That's why it never got off the ground. No. I think that these three game companies have reached the pinnacle that they can get to on their own. If you really look at it, each one of them is practically already ripping off themselves. You have Sony with their PlayStation 5 that's supposed to have backwards compatibility to, I think it's like the PS3 or the PS4 it's going to have backwards compatibility for, whereas the Xbox's latest homage to itself is going to have backwards compatibility for its entire history, all the way back to the original Xbox, at least from what I heard, unless they're going to scrap that. For Nintendo, you have the Switch. The Switch is literally the combination of the best features that they had from the Wii, which were the Joy-Cons. Basically, they're the Joy-Cons or the Wii, the nunchuck from the Wii. You have the portability that you had from all their handheld games, like the Game Boy Color, the Advance, the SP, the DS, the DS Lite, the 3DS. All that's rolled into one, and it's got the functionality of basically the GameCube and the Wii combined, because we all know the Wii U was a total disaster. That Wii U was their Virtual Boy all over again. But yeah, so for Nintendo, they've reached their pinnacle. They can't go any higher. There is literally a barrier that they have now hit, and that is it. They're not powerful enough to break through that barrier. Sony's going to hit it now with their PS5, although technically they could probably go one step higher if they would literally just come out with the PlayStation Infinity, like I've been saying for years. Come out with the PlayStation Infinity, backwards compatibility all the way back to the PlayStation 1, with the ability to play games, like taking all those older games and putting them in higher resolution via internal system works. And sell a game console like that. But Sony's never going to do that. For starters, they're idiots. And Microsoft is already reaching their pinnacle now. So there's nowhere else the three of them can go separately anymore. And I think it's finally time that they, swallow their pride, put it aside, and join forces and create something beautiful. And I know out there somebody's going to go, but Andrew, this is never going to happen. Well, yeah, I know, but here's the thing. Halley's Comet might never collide with the moon, but there's always the possibility. The sun may not rise in the east one morning. You never know. All of a sudden, the moon could fall out of the sky. The oceans could dry up suddenly. Anything is possible. I could get a wife for all we know. Yeah. Anything's possible. Yeah, even insanity is possible. But basically, what I'm getting at is that Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft have reached their pinnacle. They cannot go any further than they have already done, and they know this. I swear they know this now. That's why Nintendo isn't trying to come out with a new game system. It's like, look, what can they possibly do to improve upon the Switch? Nothing. There literally is nothing else you can do. I mean, they've actually taken a step backwards in a way with that Switch Lite that has the Joy-Cons literally attached to the damn thing. So it's like they're taking a step backwards because they know they can't go forward anymore. They've reached their literal pinnacle. Unless they're going to come out with headgear or a tablet or something like that, or a phone that's going to be Nintendo brand, like the Nintablet, like I've been saying. I swear to God, if they come out with a Nintablet, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be freaking... That'll be a rant video if I ever find out Nintendo's coming out with a tablet. I'm going to lose my shit. That will be like a 30-minute video where you're just going to be hearing me drop F-bombs left and right. And I will be ripping Nintendo a new one. But no, Nintendo has reached their pinnacle. I swear they have. And Sony and Microsoft are... I can't even talk now. Microsoft's already there, if they haven't hit it already. And Sony is maybe one more wrong, and that'll be it. And technically, I don't even think they're going to do that because they had all the issues with backwards compatibility for the PS3. That's why they scrapped it then for the later models. So basically, they've reached their pinnacle separately. They cannot go any further. I honestly think if they pull their resources together, pull their skills together, pull their teams together, and come up with something, swallow their pride, and just finally admit, look, we've gone all the further we can go separately. There's nowhere else for us to go. We can't hit any further. Games are literally being downloaded now. There's barely any use for a physical copy of a game. Everybody can get a downloaded copy of the game now. Why are we killing ourselves competing against one another? We need to sit down and we need to figure out a way to milk these suckers for all they're worth together. That's why we're doing this. We're not doing this to bring fun and joy to people. If we wanted to do that, we would have just stuck with our simple stuff for years and stopped having a pissing contest with one another. We have sat here for too long, watching each other screw over each other and screwing ourselves. We can no longer do this. We need to come together. That's what they got to do. And the kicker is, if they would do this, I could imagine a really unique game system coming out of this. I mean, connectivity via the portable, detachable controllers. You'd have like Joy-Con-like controllers that could be detached around the front or on the side. You'd have PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo pulling their graphics and CPUs together to make a monstrosity that would be not only huge, but somewhat on the small side. I mean, if the three of them came together, there would be no stopping them. First off, it'd be a monopoly, which they wouldn't be able to have. But second off, it would be a tremendous thing. Nobody in the world would be able to hold them back. Nothing could stop them. They could create a literal one-off game system that they could just sell upgrade kits for. Because, I mean, if you think about it, all the Xbox is an overglorified computer. That's basically all it is. And the PS5 and the PlayStations, basically. Yeah, the PlayStations are basically a smaller, okay, the PlayStations are a little more complex, but it's not that much. It's basically an overglorified computer still. Just not a, massive one like Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft, even the original Xbox had a freaking hard drive. Okay? It's an overglorified computer. So you have Microsoft design the base for it with Nintendo's technology and ideas at their disposal, their IPs and their copyrights, and their inventions and their patents, and you have Sony jump in with their stuff, because Sony has some good ideas. I'm not going to lie. Sony has some good ideas. They suck at ventilating their systems, though. Let's take a good look at the PS4 if you want a damn good thing on that. Not to mention Nintendo with their horrible battery life. And, oh, look, I have watched a lot of Tronics Fix. By the way, great channel. If when I start up my YouTube reviews, if I haven't already reviewed him, he probably will be one of them. But, yeah, first off, Tronics Fix, I have watched him fix a crap ton of Nintendo Switches. And majority of the time, it is one freaking chip. one chip that screws up a whole game console. One chip that I'm assuming is like $3 to $5. I haven't actually looked it up, but I'm assuming it's like $3 to $5. Fucks up an entire $200 game system. One chip. That's like when my mom's one car crapped out years ago. The fan belt snapped. And the fan belt to replace it was about $2 to $3 at the time. And it's like, wow. I mean, we got it cheap, but it was a brand new fan belt. I'm like, a $2 to $3 fan belt, broke, fucked up a $500 car. Seriously, I mean, it's just the smallest things in the world that can screw up the biggest things. Because Nintendo wasn't thinking about making it a quality product. They were thinking about getting it out to the market and mass producing these quickly. But if Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft pulled together, just stopped having their pissing contest, stopped having their massive screw you to the world, they just came together, they could literally do the unthinkable. They could create a standalone game system that could literally just be upgraded however the end user wants. I mean, if the end user wants a little more power, they could accommodate for that. If they would want to be able to pop in like a drive or something to play old emulated games from like the NES Classic, the SNES Classic, or any of those ones, they could do that. Same for the PlayStation and, any of those. They could easily do that just by popping in a drive with literally all the stuff on there you could get from Nintendo. And it would just boot up like it would the NES Classic and stuff like that. And all of it being in a game console, that would probably be, I would at least want it to be no bigger than maybe, and I'm going to stress this here, like maybe a 10-inch tablet or a laptop. And I mean a closed laptop. I don't mean open. I mean a closed laptop. Like, no bigger than that. And you're looking at a good system. This would be a game system that could rival everything. You'd have one set of games. So, granted, okay, developers would get screwed over. I could see massive issues with that. But there would be a massive amount of time that they could spend developing the games. Because you'd have an entire backlog of stuff that they could resell in order to make, time for the newer games to come out. You'd have a massive backlog. I mean, it would be great. One video chip, one set thing. I mean, Nintendo had the issue of not allowing third parties to handle a majority of their stuff. Hence why the Virtual Boy just completely caved in on itself. It imploded upon launch. The Wii U pretty much did the same thing, but that was because of other reasons. It sucked. I don't care how much Reggie was loving that thing at that E3 conference. That was stupid. It's like, oh, I love this. This is going to be the future of gaming right here. No. Yeah, case might be for the Switch years later, like maybe a decade or two later. But no. We're not even a decade later. But basically, yeah, no. I mean, half a decade, yeah. But no, that's not that was not the future of gaming. That was the pinnacle of downfall of gaming. But still, Nintendo knows what they're doing now. They've reached their pinnacle. Sony's about to reach their pinnacle if they haven't already, and same with Microsoft. I think it's time the three of them finally just gets together, pull their resources together, and creates the ultimate game system. The one and all beat all. You can have the ability to play all the old Nintendo, like the old NES games, the old SNES games, the old N64, old GameCube, old Wii games, and not, you could do both Virtual Console, and for those of you that have the thing, they could include an additional, like, adapter that you can pop open, like a disc thing, like they sell, like the accessories kit, like they could call it the retro accessories kit, where it's like, it's a standalone, it plugs into the back via some type of port. I would say USB or something, maybe, I would go maybe USB or, yeah, at least USB or something. Maybe VGA, I don't know. But at least something like that. Have it plug into the back, a parallel port. Yeah, that's true too. And have it plug into the back, and it allows you to play console games, like the old cartridge-based ones for the Nintendo system. Or just because that data is easy to pull off. Because people have been dumping those things and putting it on emulators. Fix it up on a massive, like 5,001 disc. And sell that along with like the old GameCube games, and people could just play their old GameCube games. Like, here, pop it on, has like a little tab, pop it on, close the disc thing for one of the accessories, and it reads the disc. Do PlayStation, PS2, PS3, PS4, Xbox, Xbox One, Xbox, 360, and all those. And then it just goes to town. But they would have to pull their heads out of their asses first, and I don't see them doing that. But it would be a good idea, because Nintendo has reached, like I said, they've reached their pinnacle. And I can't think of any way they could beat the Switch. I really don't. Sony's done theirs, and Microsoft's done theirs. So this would be a unique way to pull their talents together so that they don't just constantly just become a laughingstock. And at this point, with nowhere else to go, they are going to just fall off the face of the earth and just go, well, it was nice while we knew yous. Have a nice life, have a nice existence, and, bye-bye, and, how'd Spock's thing go? Oh, yeah, live long and prosper, basically. And you'd have nothing else. It'd be the end of gaming. But in all honesty, if they combine their resources together, created one massive system, they could come out with expansion packs for it. Like, oh, look, here's a memory expansion for it. Or here's, like, an upgrade for the motherboard. Or here's, like, the next version of it. And you could buy it, and then you could, hook it up yourself. Or you could just buy the damn thing. Because, like I said, it'd only be about the size of a closed laptop. My laptop's, like, 15 inches, like a 15-inch screen. So I'd go with at least that big closed. That would not be bad. And it seemed like height-wise and everything, I wouldn't be bad having something that big as a game system. Yeah, here you go. You plug all the stuff in, and we're good to go. But still, I mean, that's my thought, that they got to pull themselves together. They have nothing else at this point. I mean, once the PS5 and the new Xbox system drop, that's it. That's going to be the swan song. The writing will be finally on the wall, and that'll be the end of it. So what are they going to do next? There's literally nothing left. And they could easily pull themselves together and figure out a way to do this. I mean, Nintendo nailed motion technology, which they still do have with the Joy-Cons in a way. And that could be a massive gain for both Sony and Microsoft. If they team up with Nintendo to make this, they could create, an ability for they could have, like, the publishers come out with games that fit that, or fix up the old controllers to be able to utilize that. Like, could you imagine, I'm going to stress this one here, could you imagine playing the old school, and I mean this here now, the old school Tales of Symphonia game with an ability to control the movement of your character without having a controller, like, tethered. And I know somebody out there's going to go, you could do that with the Wii. Yes and no, but you get what I mean here. I mean, you're talking like motion controlling the characters. Or you'd have, I'm trying to think of a really good game here, God of War, utilizing a sort of like the Joy-Con system. Games that could be improved that are in the back catalogs. You could have the software be improved, hardware be improved, but this would all have to happen if Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft came together. So I think it's time. That's my discussion. That's my point. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's get a discussion going. Do you think it's finally time, after the PS5 and the new Xbox system drop later this year, do you think it'll finally be time for Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft to put aside their differences? The three heads of the video game mafia family finally come together to form one company, one unified system, one unified brand. Or do you think they should just continue having their pissing contest that's gone on since the 90s? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and let's get a discussion going. And until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and this has been Andrew Discusses.